Hi, it's Kendall from Adventure with Flowers here. The frosts have been and the dahlias are finished. I'm gutted because, as you probably know, they're my absolute favourites. But I thought I would show you a couple of ways that I look after my dahlias over winter. So the vast majority of them I leave in the ground. There's two reasons for this. One, time. It takes a lot of time to lift them, store them, and then replant them again next year. And as you will know, I'm a very busy mum of one and I work a 3-day week as well in another job. So yeah, time wise, I just think we're all busy. So if you can save yourself a bit of time, then why not? So I leave most of mine in the ground. And the second reason is space to store them, because actually if you have as many as I do, I think there's about 30 varieties in my garden, a bit obsessed, then it's hard to find the space. I'm going to store the couple that I am lifting, I'm going to store in the garage, and my garage is not that big and there's a car in there and loads of other things as well. So yeah, so first things first, I'm going to show you what I do to the dahlias that I leave in the ground. So what you're going to do, this is the one I'm going to do here. So this is my Cafe LA. So I'm just going to cut every single stem down to about sort of 8 or 10 centimetres from the ground. So literally get in there. That can just all go in the compost. Looks so bare now. And then I'm just going to remove any leaves that are left sticking up. Trying to fit my head and the dahlia in. Right, so you can see there, that's what I've got left. I've still got my plant marker in. That's going to be key so you can remember what it is next year. And all I'm going to do is put a mound of my homemade compost on top of this. If you don't have your own compost, you can use straw. But I have got some from my hot bin, so I'm going to chuck that on now. So the reason you're doing this is to protect the plant from frosts, so you do want quite a big mound. That will obviously break down over time, but hopefully it will keep the dahlia nice and protected over winter. Right, on to the second method now. Second dahlia is this beauty here. It was Edge of Joy, I think it was called. It was lovely. But as you can see, the frost has completely blackened it. So first things first with this one, I'm going to lift this one, is I'm going to find the name label. Oh no, it's tartan, sorry, that one. So that's the name label there. I'm going to keep that very safe to the side because I don't want to, especially if you're lifting a lot, you don't want to get confused with the ones that you've lifted, because then you might end up planting something a completely different colour where you didn't want it. So yeah, and then you're going to do exactly the same thing. So just chop that down. Remove the leaves. Now, I'm going to use a fork. You can use a spade, but you've got to go a bit careful because what you really don't want to do is pierce or cut through any of the tubers, because if you do that, then you can introduce infection. So we want to really try and not do that. Okay. So I'm going to go a little distance away because the tuber will probably have spread out quite far. So what you're trying to do is get underneath the tuber rather than go through it. I'll be honest, I'm not always so successful at this, but you know, you can always try. So I'm in quite deep there. I'm just going to lift. You can grab hold of these as well, and then you want to shake off as much of the soil as possible. So there you go, there's your tuber. Just try and sort of get rid of as much of the soil as you can. And then what you're going to do is you're going to store it upside down somewhere frost-free for 2 weeks like this. So you're literally going to do that. And the reason is you want all of the water that might still be held in the tuber and in these stems to drain out, because you want this as dry as possible. If it's wet when it goes into store, it will rot and then you'll lose it. So that is key. A lot of people rinse all the mud off, but I think that's, well, I've done that in the past and everything rotted, so I'm not going to do that again. And to be honest, I just think, why introduce more water when you're trying to dry it out? So I'm going to leave mine maybe in my greenhouse or in the garage on the side upside down like that for 2 weeks until they're dry, and then I'm going to pack them. This is where your label comes in handy. So you can see here I've got a crate that's full of compost mixed with vermiculite. So I'm just going to snuggle that in. Once it's dry, snuggle it in, fill up to the top with the compost. I've got my label there so I don't forget which one it was, and obviously you can fit a few in there. Pack them relatively tightly, but obviously you've got to remember that if one starts rotting and it's really close to another one, then that might also start rotting. So yeah, so once you've done that and you filled it up to the top here, you can store them somewhere dark and cool. Frost-free is key though, so I'm going to put mine in the garage and just keep checking them every week, 2 weeks or so for rot. If there is any that start to rot, then grab them out and get rid of the rotten parts. You can just break them off and hopefully the rest of your dahlia will be okay. And yeah, and then in the spring you will be able to plant them in their new position. So I hope that was useful. Another little gardening tip for you there. I know a lot of you love dahlias as much as I do, so I hope that's been handy for you. I'd love to know if you are going to give it a go with lifting or if you're going to leave yours in. So either reply to the email that you see this on or put it in the comments, or let me know on Instagram whether you're going to try the lifting and storing or you're going to leave yours in and mulch them. Hope you're really well and speak to you soon. Bye.